Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today my guest is Yash Nagarkoti, who is a casting director and has worked on projects such as Shakuntala Devi, Chintu Ka Birthday and Bhoot Police. So do watch the whole video, like the video, subscribe to my YouTube channel. So sir, first question is like, what inspired you to become a casting director? Sir, why you choose to become a casting director?
Actually, there's no one particular reason to it. Uh, I think casting directors my age had a little bit uh, easier thing because there were already a couple of established casting directors before us. The world was already set because I think the whole concept of getting casting directors on board on a feature film or a show or whatever it is, I think it started only around 2012, 13, 14 types. I think Gangs of Wasseypur was one of the first few proper films where people noticed the casting and gave that due to the casting director and all those things. So it started off from there. So before that, there was the whole industry was not that organized, or people were not taking casting that seriously. There's a quote that usually in filmmaking people say that casting done right is 90% of your film. So, and I feel the same thing. Like it's very, very, very important. So when you look at a film like uh, Gangs of Wasseypur, or even after that, there were a lot of films that had come in where you notice all these actors and you then go into their backstories that where are they from, and all those things. Most of them were from NSD or FTI and all those things. Then you just also know the importance of training, of in terms of an actor's life and all those things. So I think it was during the release of Dangal is when I watched Dangal, and that was the point where I decided that this is something that has a lot of scope if done right. There's a chance of introducing a lot of new people into the industry, um, and just finding out and sourcing out good talent all across the country. And that was the time when shows were just getting introduced, like your Sacred Games was getting made, Mirzapur was getting made. So I think that was the time, and shows are all basis the cast. Like to make a good show, you need a good story, a good script, and a good cast. Like most of the other things will fall into place. But if either of these two things go wrong, then chances are that So that was the time when the OTT boom was just starting, and that kind of helped me shape up this decision of becoming a casting director. Always wanted to become, just be a part of films. But when I saw all these films and the immense potential that casting can contribute in terms of the overall filmmaking bit, that was a decision when I time when I took the decision to just properly take it and pursue this career.
Okay. And sir, how many team members are there in casting department? Because we only know casting director.
So it depends. Like, just to give you an example, we'll talk about the project later also. I just did a show with Excel. They just announced with Netflix called Dabba Cartel. So there's obviously Shabana ji, there's Jyotika, ma'am from South, there are a couple of other actors, Nimisha, Anjali Anand, and Shalini Pandey. But apart from that, we started casting for that project, I think, in 2022. And it just got wrapped about early this year. So the whole process of casting for that show, because shows are like big, 8 episodes, every episode there are people getting killed, and then again new characters coming in and all those things. It is about a cast of 130, 150 characters, and if you want to do it properly, you need that much amount of time. So I think on that project we had a team of 10 to 12 people through the film, like through the course of 1 year. But in general, on a project, it's basically a casting director. It's the main associate director, casting director, and then there are a couple of assistants just to, because luckily, or whatever you say, like post the lockdown, um, like the physical audition process has changed a little. Most of the casting happens through self tests. That is, we give a brief to the actor, we give the scenes to the actor, they record it at their own convenience at their own places, and then they send it to us. And then if we have some feedback, we go back and forth and just arrive at the point where the creatives are matched. So I think it has become a little easy. Otherwise, we always had a few people who used to be there to give cues and do all those things. So I think the process has changed a little, but it's usually 3 to 4 people who work on a project.
Sir, what have you studied like in your graduation days? Have you gone to film school as well?
so I'll just give you a background. So the thing is that my mom, my mother, she was, the headmistress in the school I used to go to. So it started from there. She used to teach maths, and then whenever she used to stay back for whatever annual functions they used to happen, I always used to be along with her. So I used to get cast a lot because of that thing. Because whenever they needed like a young version of the main hero, they used to cast me, or the child of the main hero, whatever that thing is. So it just kind of, ever since I was like what, 7 8 years old, I've always been a part of theater and all those things put together. In school, we had a very good dramatic society in our school, so we traveled all across the country when we were in high school and all. So the whole thing of being a part of that cultural committee and all those things was always there. So yeah, pretty much after school, then I decided to like, I think till grade 11 I was like a very average student. I don't know what happened. I just you know kind of studied a lot in my final 12th grade, scored some 93 94%, and then got into a good college in Delhi University. And then some kida happened. I was doing commerce, so I just wanted to become a CA. So it's a very funny story that I was pursuing CA. I cleared my PCC and CPT, the first two rounds of attempts, very quickly. I was doing this 3 year old internship that you have to do before you give your final exams. And during that period, I just happened to come to Bombay for an audit. So I won't name the firm, but yeah, there's a audit in Bombay, so I had flown down for that. And we had a couple of days off. I just went to a couple of offices just to explore, because that kida was always there, that uh, of exploring something in the industry. And that's where I just met the casting director. I just wanted to assist him for a couple of months, and that's where the journey started.
Sir, if you could tell, like, what is the job of a casting director in detail, sir? How do you start the process?
Yeah. So I think the main job obviously is to find the correct cast for a particular project. All the speaking parts that you see in a film is just the responsibility of conducting auditions and all those things is the one liner of it. But a lot of things happen on the back end side of it. Like even in terms of the entire casting team, the first job is when we get the script, or we listen to a narration from the writer or the director. The first thing is to understand the text. That also has to do a lot of it takes a lot of understanding of literature as well as filmmaking, to understand what the writer is trying to communicate, what the director is trying to communicate through the script, just to get an essence of that. I think because I also see myself as a filmmaker more than just a casting director. So just to be aware of all the departments, because I think it's a process. Like it's filmmaking is a process where every department counts in. So coming back to our casting job, so it's just about getting the brief from the director. Once you've read the script, a lot of times you have some suggestions. A lot of time you ask what particular briefs do they have for a particular cast or whatever that thing is. Once you're on the same page in terms of knowing the brief, then the whole process starts, where we then narrow down the characters. These are the primary characters, these are the secondary characters, these are the one day players and all those things. And then we get into the sourcing of actors, like who all would fit into this part. So we source the entire team, sets and researches about, we do our research in terms of which actor to cast and which character and all those things. And once that is done, then we call them to the auditions, to our office to conduct their auditions. We brief them. There's always somebody to give cues. We always prefer an actor doing that job, because it becomes easier for the actor, and the other actor also understands what they're going through. So it's easier for them also to make them understand what the director is wanting to try in terms of the character and the scenes. I still feel that casting is not something like, especially the audition process, you can't get everything that the director wants. But I think in that whole 1 or 2 minutes of performing a scene, you get to know whether the actor has that essence of the character and how much open he is to doing things. That's why we always try to do a couple of variations in different briefs, so that at least we see how much they're open to listening to us and adapting to that whole thing. And once then we just shortlist out. Suppose if we do 10 auditions for a character, then we shortlist 4 to 5 who we think would really fit in, and their auditions are also good. and then show it to the director, and then we go back and forth in terms of what they think, what we think, and then the director finally takes a call, and the character is locked, and then it goes to production in terms of managing the budgets and all the dates and all those things. So this is what the one liner of the whole job is.
So generally, like how many rounds are there?
It depends, man. It depends. It just depends upon the director how clear he is, and a lot of times it's also not just clarity. It's just about he's exploring different sides of a particular character in an actor. So a lot of times it happens that we just do an audition and we know that we've cracked something. We just send it. I just send it to the director then and there itself, and they're also like, yeah, bang on, let's lock it. A lot of time, like I was doing a show with Excel and Tiger Baby called Eternally Confused and Eager for Love. That happened through the lockdown, and because it was happening through the lockdown, it was a very new thing for everyone. So for that, we had to conduct a multiple round of auditions. Like we did one audition just prior to the lockdown in our office, and then we did a lot of callback auditions on Zoom. Then finally, when we are about to enter, like the lockdown was almost lifting up the first lockdown, then we again called them into the office and did another round. So it was like for every actor we did about 3 to 4 round of auditions. I think mainly for the primary cast, the main lead characters, it's always it's usually like 2 to 3 rounds for the director also to narrow down. A lot of time we do combination tests. Like if we have three actors for every character, then we make them perform with each other just to know how the chemistry is also working, because an actor might be terrific, but it's not like for every character he'll fit in. So that's what casting comes through, like just to figure out what if it's a love story, the both of the actors need to also click in terms of the chemistry and all. A lot of things happen on the back end of it. So I think this is what but a lot of times it has happened that we've just done an audition and instantly we know that this is the actor that we've found, and a lot of times it also works out for that actor.
So there have been some situations like you like the actor, but the director didn't like the actor, but you also like the actor. The director also like the actor, but the producer said no.
Yeah, so basically filmmaking is a very expensive business, uh, and we have full respect to that because a lot of money goes into the whole filmmaking process. I think it's just a collaboration between a director and a producer, and the casting director. From that perspective, that when we start the casting, one of the aspect of that thing is also the budget, because and the production house. A lot of times the bigger production house, they have bigger budgets. A lot of time people who are trying to experiment or doing an indie film, they have smaller resources and smaller budgets. So as a casting director, we also need to understand that factor a little, just to incorporate that thing into the casting. But at the end of the day, it's just about finding a suitable character in a particular part. That actor might be really good in general, but might still not fit into the part. That has happened a lot of times, and those actors have become big now. Um but still, I've had those conversations with all those actors that why it's not clicking out and that point of time of their career or whatever that thing is. It's just about fitting into the part, and I think the director always has a bigger vision, because he's not only looking into the casting, he's looking at the overall bigger picture of the film. So I think a lot of times what is coming from him is closer to how the writer has written and how he's imagining. But a lot of times we also tell or have inputs where we kind of it's just about for the betterment of the film. So if we have some particular point and we try to convince them and they get convinced, a lot of times they also then change their mind, and later on they also thank that it was a good call that we took that decision and moved ahead with that particular actor because of that particular reason. Yeah, but it's always different for different films and different projects.
Sir, how should an actor like approach a casting director?
Yeah, I think that depends from actor to actor. That depends where you're starting, and and all those things. I think if you're just new, you're starting out, the best way is to there's a basic research an actor needs to do in terms of finding out who the top casting directors are, or not only the top, who are the working casting directors in the industry. There are a lot of different platforms. There's a lot of people cast for advertisements, a lot of people cast for web series, a lot of people cast for television. So first, for an actor to align themselves also what they want to try to contribute into, what kind of projects they want to do, and then just list out a list of those casting directors that are doing those kind of projects. Is will narrow down your approach. Obviously, if you are an actor, there are a lot of audition groups and all those things where you get uh, to know who all are auditioning for whatever characters and all those things. I think having a good group of people around who are also actors really help. If you get to meet with a few people who are like-minded, and who can push you and who you can also push, that really helps. All those things, and just doing your research about the kind of casting directors who are just watch films. There's always a credit list that comes out at the end with the name of the casting director and their entire team and all these days. So just to figure out who the main associate is, how you can get in touch with them. Usually you go to their office if they have an office right now, and just try to um, get a meeting with them just to introduce yourself. I think the best way is for us as a casting director. I really prefer when an actor comes and introduces himself, because otherwise, just looking at a picture or an introduction, you get that much only about him or her. I think when you just talk to them, you get so much more about them. Otherwise, it's just binding them into a particular thing. So if you can just get some time with their associate, you never know if the casting director is free or not. But at least, even if you get in touch with their team and try to introduce yourself, and just try to audition, even start with the smaller parts, and then slowly and gradually you move ahead as you keep auditioning, and just do a good audition. Even if whatever the character is, if you do a good audition, it always stays. A good audition always stays with the casting director, and if not for that particular project, you'll always be called for other things. So I think that is how you build that rapport with the casting director. And once we know that, oh, this is a good actor, so we should keep him in our radar, whatever we are doing. So I think that is how you kind of a good audition always makes a good impact, is what I feel.
Sir, do casting directors prefer like acting school students or they have done theater, or does it matter? It doesn't matter.
Uh, a lot of times, especially for web series, the characters are very demanding. The characters are very demanding because of the length of the characters you're performing for 8 episodes, and you're shooting, one scene of suppose episode 2 right now, and the next 10 minutes you're shuffling back to episode 1 and then something. So it always helps when you have your craft is good, right? So we always talk about the craft of acting. Every actor has their own craft. They keep working on it. I think the more you work on your craft, the better you get, and that really helps. And being like a graduate from an FTI or a NSD, or a lot of other institutes also, it really helps because you've gone through the whole process of that whole training bit. So it reflects when you act or you do auditions, or the way you conduct yourself as an actor, not restricting people just from institutes, because a lot of wonderful performers have come in who are not from any institute, but they've been working on their craft somewhere or the other, and that reflects. So it's just about honing your craft, just working on it, maybe taking workshops or working on yourself, doing scene work, because even if you're a pass out of a particular institute, you still need to work on your craft. You still need to perform, and just make yourself better, because you never know when the opportunity will come, and once it comes, you need to give your best at that point of time. So just being prepared, I think, with your craft is the most important thing. It doesn't necessarily have to come from a particular institute. Obviously it helps when we also look at people who've come in from the FTI or NSD or other institutes. It really helped. Like the last few projects, especially on OTT, if you watch, most of the lead actors right now in terms of the web series are from institutes like FTI, may it be Rajkumar Rao, may it be Vijay Varma, may it be Jaideep Alawat, Divendu, all of them, Sunny Hinduja, who's doing great work. So all of them are from there, but there's no restriction. There are people who have um not gotten trained from a particular institute. They have done theater in their own local town, from a small town to then a bigger state, and then come to Bombay. I think it's better if you're prepared when you come to Bombay, because it's a very expensive city to come and get trained. So if you can just start from your grassroots level, do some training, keep improving on your craft, and then come to Bombay and start giving auditions would be better.
Sir, now let's talk about your filmography. Like, you have casted for Mirzapur, sir?
So I was an assistant on Mirzapur, so that's where I just had come into Bombay. So I was telling you that I was doing this job. I had come for an audit, and I just happened to walk around Nagar and just enter a casting director's office, and I was just like, I really want to do casting if there's a job. So they said that, yeah, come from tomorrow. And the next day I went there, so they were casting for Mirzapur. So I just happened to be a part of the entire team. Uh, Gone to Banaras to do the local casting of Mirzapur with the associate, and it was a great experience learning on it. I think I worked there over a period of 4 to 5 months, and then I met Tanmay, who was at AIB. He was producing a film called Chintu Ka Birthday, and he was like, "Why don't you cast for a film?" So I think from there the journey of an independent casting director happened for me, and then one thing led to the other, and yeah.
And yes, sir, your experience with Chintu Ka Birthday, please do tell what is the process of casting.
Yeah. So it was a long process. I think Satyanshu and Devanshu, who are the writers and who have, also directed the film, they wrote the film, I think, um, in 2007, and 2017 is when they actually shot. So a lot of times it was supposed to get made and it got stalled for some particular reason because of the actors or something here and there, until Tanmay and the folks at AIB, they decided to start producing films, and this is where they took up Chintu Ka Birthday to produce. I came into the picture when AIB had started producing Chintu Ka Birthday. So I think there were a couple of characters there that they were kind of stuck with, especially the Iraqi guy. The casting was happening since a long time, but they were still stuck with that Iraqi guy. So I think I got on board just, I think, to start off with that particular casting, and then got involved with the kids and all those things. And it was a great process overall. I really loved the script, so I just requested the directors if I can also assist on the film. So once the casting was done, we kind of sourced out actors from Palestine, from Iraq, and all those places. Flew them down to Bombay, took care of them through the shoot. And it was a lovely process because hardly you get to cast a film where you get to cast actors from there and get them over to Bombay and all those things, especially for a small budget film like this. And then to just be a part of the filmmaking process, as I was telling you about, as an assistant director also on that project for whatever 16 days we shot the entire film in Bombay. So the whole process was like great. The first time that I was a part of a film set, so got to learn a lot, and did a lot of mistakes, but then learned a lot.
Yeah. Sir, are you interested in filmmaking as well?
Yeah, I am. As I was saying, that casting is a process. With Chintu Ka Birthday, I kind of experienced what happens on set. Then I did the casting for a couple of films. Then I again happened to be a DA on a film called Like Ishq India with Imran Hashmi, where I was the first person to get hired, and I was there till the end. So I want to kind of learn the whole process of filmmaking right from starting to end. So I think that really helped me a lot to know all the technical aspects of filmmaking, right from pre-production to shoot to post-production till the end of the release of the film. I think it kind of took me through everything. But I always feel that casting is something that I specialize in, and because I have a knowledge of other things also, that really helps because a lot of times you have some input. Like I really feel it's a collaborative process. So sometimes even a costume designer has some input on the casting, which might work, which we might not have thought. So it's just a collaborative process. I really have very good close friends who are working in other departments, maybe sound or music or costumes or production design and all those DOPs. So I think it's a very good community of technicians that we kind of have. So I think it's a good part. It's a good time to be a part of the entire filmmaking process because you're not just doing one particular thing. You're involved with everything. Yeah.
Sir, your experience in Shakuntala Devi, sir.
Yeah, so Shakuntala, I think when I read the script, uh, the I really felt the goosebumps. Uh, just reading the heavy dialogues that this character uh, was kind of and just thinking how Vidya ma'am will deliver it and all those things. I think it was a great experience overall. It was a very fun project. Got to cast the daughters, and it was still not like a very heavy cast, but I think every character kind of contributed to the entire film. I was doing that project with a casting director called Sahel Latif. She just passed away in 2021, I think so. Uh, and we did a couple of projects together. Shakuntala was one of them. She was also an EP on the film, uh, and kind of the process was great. Like just finding out all those actors, especially the smaller ones, the younger Shakuntala Devi. That was the first time when apart from Chintu Ka Birthday, we cast a lot of younger actors, like the young version of Shakuntala, the young version of Sanya, and then growing ages, also a couple of actors like that. So I think it just opened up uh, how you cast the younger versions and child actors and all those things. So that was one memory that I have of it. And then Vidya ma'am was great. Even at the rap party, as a casting director, we hardly get to go on the other side of in terms of the shoot and all those things. So there's always a distance between what we do and what happens on set, because I think most of our job kind of gets complete before the shoot happens, because once you lock all the actors, then it's up to the director and the production team to take it forward. But that was one project where I happened to be on set a couple of times and just interact with Vidya ma'am and Jishu sir and the entire cast, and it was lovely. Like everyone is so warm, especially all these actors who are named. We had a lot of fun, in terms of the casting and during the release also.
Sir, Bhoot Police.
Yeah, so Bhoot Police actually happened right uh, during the pandemic. We were kind of stuck. I think during the second lockdown, actually the first lockdown, had just started, coming into me. Um, I read the script as a funny film, so I love comedies. I love being watching comedy films and being a part of comedy films, because I think it's the toughest genre to crack. A lot of it depends upon the beat. There's always a comic beat to the film, just to chat with the director. I think Pawan had a very clear vision. Pawan, who's the director of the film, he had a very clear vision of how he wanted to make the film and the kind of actors he wanted to cast. It was a long process. Even the smaller parts, it took a lot of time for us to find great actors. A team went to Himachal, because the film was shot over there in Himachal. So a lot of casting happened in and around Dharamshala and Himachal and all those places. Found out great actors over there. There's an institute called TIPA, Tibetan Institute of Performing Arts, if I'm not wrong. And there are amazing actors over there. So we actually found out a lot of great actors from there. We picked up a lot of actors from the street. When we did open casting auditions, like a great child actor we found like that, who used to, his father had a shop over there, and she was just running around, and we just asked her to just come and audition, and she was great. Yeah, so a lot of that thing happens, and it's like an ensemble. So when you have 10 actors in a frame, so it's important for everyone to be in sync with each other, because a lot of acting happens around reacting. When the other actors are saying dialogues and you're just reacting to it, a lot of comedy also comes out of it. So I think just to crack that bit, where you find actors who have that good comic timing, was a task, but it was, at the end of the day, it paid off.
Sir, are you currently doing any projects right now?
Yeah, I'm currently Dabba Cartel just happened with Netflix and XL. We are working on two, three projects. The only thing is that we do sign an NDA, so it's tough to tell the name of the directors or producers or the projects until unless they announce it. And then we also have the freedom to tell people what we are currently doing. There's also a film that we are kind of producing, that is our first production, venturing into it. That we are shooting in May and June of this year. Um, so yeah, that is also like a process of, I think, over the last 4 to 5 months have been working on it. Um, So there's a writer from Malayalam who's written this film. Then we translated it from Malayalam to English and then to Hindi. Um, got some great actors on board for the same, and I think probably we'll be done with it in the next 6 to 7 months. So yeah, that's always been the intention of finding good scripts. Also, just to be a part of it, you can be also involved in more capacities just than being just a casting director, and just whatever you've kind of learned through the process of being a casting director, that we can just help out during the filmmaking process also.
Sir, if somebody wants to like assist you in casting, how they can approach you, sir?
So we have an email ID, and it's called connectwithinc@gmail.com. Actually, it's called contact@casting.in. Uh, and we keep posting updates on our Facebook and Instagram pages. So I think that's also a great way to get connected to casting directors and to know what all is happening in the company, because whatever specific requirements we have, if we are wanting to hire an intern or an assistant or an associate, we always put them out on our pages with all the email IDs and information out there. um, Even all the casting calls that happen whenever we have any specific requirement. Suppose if we need like a boy with the curly hair between the age group of 5 to 7, we just put it out. Who also knows Tamil language, so we put it out so that it just gets easier for us to reach to a wider audience. Good that social media also empowers us to reach to a bigger pool of people. You might not be in Bombay, might be in any city, but if you are connected to us through our social media, you'll keep getting updates of what we're doing and if you can apply and all those things. So yeah, I think that's a good way to know about all these things and get connected.
Sir, advice for actors who want to like auditions.
There's no particular advice as such. I think what I just mentioned over the last few minutes during the course of the interview, like just train yourself, work on your craft. Only come to Bombay when you think you've worked enough on your craft and you are prepared. Um and then just know that um, a lot of people do audition for a project, but a lot of times it is not in an actor's hand. They might have given a very good audition, but still might not crack it because of a specific requirement that the director was seeing in a character, which you might not know as an actor. Yeah, so a lot of times just don't get disheartened from facing rejections, because I think the people who have um, endured uh, giving auditions and not taking it too personally, and then moving ahead and just doing a better audition the next time, I think they are the ones who in the longer run sustain and are doing great work. Yeah, man, and just be authentic and just be honest to your craft. I think if you are honest, I think that always reflects in a performance and in an audition. So I think honesty is something that we as casting directors also uh, look out in a performance. A lot of times the performance is so honest that you want this thing to reach out to the director. So that is something, just to how you kind of maintain your honesty in your acting and your craft, is something that actors should learn and just maintain through, because that really reflects in the auditions.
Sir, who are like your favorite casting director right now in India?
A lot of, they're all peers, they're all friends. So we have a community of casting directors in Bombay who we keep appreciating each other's work. Sometimes something I do comes out, and people really I keep getting messages from other casting directors about that. I think Romil is doing great work. He just the casting for Lapata Ladies, which I thought was really great. He did Sherni, which was also very good. He did Newton, which is also very good. Uh, and somebody who works on the grassroots level in terms of the casting. So Romil is somebody. Obviously, Mukesh Chhabra is there. He does great casting. But the good part is that even there's so many new casting directors who are coming up who are doing great work. You might not know their name, but when you look into their credits and all, you find, oh, they've assisted on this project, this project, this project, and now they're starting their independent journey. So I think that really helps. When you find new people coming in and doing great work, because the kind of passion they have and the kind of the amount of uh, you know uh, how much they push themselves to find the perfect cast. I think that really helps. I think I always keep noticing whatever is happening around and just pushing myself also,
Okay.
so that
Okay.
yeah.
So, sir, my last question is: can you recommend few films like which have inspired you or which you really like?
So I think my filmmaking, the films that have inspired me, or the films I have kind of watched and wanted to be a part of films, have been very different from the films that I'm liking right now, and the kind of cinema I want to be a part of. Um, and more than films, I think I am from that generation of also people, I think, who are more into shows. So I think because even from the point of view of casting, I think a show allows you to get connected and through the journey of so many characters in one particular thing. Because films are still limited; it's a 2.5, 3 hours time frame, and you just get to know a little bit only about most of the characters apart from the lead. Um, I think when I was small, I think the first film I think I watched in the theater was Kahona Pyar Hai, and the charm of Hrithik Roshan kind of took to me, and I was like, yeah, this is something that is great. Like, so I really enjoyed watching all his films. My mom is a big fan of Hrithik, so she kept taking me to all his films, when I was small. Slowly and gradually, when uh, filmmakers, the new breed of filmmakers started coming in, from Anurag Kashyap to Vikramaditya Motwane, and all these films from Vishal Bhardwaj, making all the amazing films that he did. I think that was something that changed my mindset towards filmmaking, because that time also I was mostly restricted towards the Indian content. I think that was mid 2000s, early, the period of 2005 to 2015, when these filmmakers were at the top. Um I love watching masala films. I'm a big fan of films like a Bajrangi Bhaijaan or something, that's massier, but also has something in the film that connects with the audience. Because, the whole experience of going to a theater and having a good laugh, or just enjoying the whole process of filmmaking, is great. Um, Even comedies like a Go Goa Gone or a Delhi Belly and all these, great films that were getting made during that time, which were not as slapstick, but had something more than that, just being slapstick to it. I think that kind of shaped uh, most of the films that I really liked during that time period. And then there's a shift happened where I always preferred, suppose, watching a Heather over a Bang Bang when the films used to come out. And so that kind of shift happened, and then just being a part of films like a Chintu Ka Birthday and all those things kind of again pushed it further, um, to just gravitating towards films that have good content, and all those things. So right now, most of the films or shows that I'm watching, uh, it's so satisfying to watch. Great content all across the country. I think the last few things that I really liked, um, were a lot of it. A lot of Indian films are also have been coming, like a Lapata Ladies was great. I just watched Madgaon Express. It was a good laugh, very well made by Kunal Khemu. A lot of international shows, even romance comedy shows. I watched One Day, which I really liked. Before that, there was Normal People, which I really liked. I'm a big fan of Succession, all the seasons. And the thing is that with shows, once you're done with the finale, it feels a little like you have that void. So I'm a big fan even of comedies like a Big Bang Theory and all those things. So it's because there's so many characters, and you get to just, it's a wholesome watch. So I think the kind of cinema I like to watch is the kind of cinema I want to be a part of, also. So, and it has nothing to do with a particular genre. It can vary from comedy to action to romance to drama to whatever it is. Not that big a fan of horror, just on a personal level. So that is something that kind of scares me a little. But apart from that, I really enjoy watching and being a part of all the other kind of cinema.
Sir, last question is: if somebody wants to become a casting director, what advice would you give to them?
I think being a casting director is also having a voice of. Uh, Obviously, a lot of it comes from having a knowledge about acting, a knowledge about performances, or knowledge about all filmmaking process. But um, it's not compulsory that you need to have all these things going for you. I think a lot of it also is understanding the vision of the director. For that, obviously, a lot of things happen when you are preparing yourself as an artist of reading and all those things. And once that is done, I think as a casting director, some important things is just about, I think it comes naturally if you have an eye to look out for things more than just what seems on screen or on that. So I also, whenever I go and watch a film, it's always been noticing the smaller nuances in a performance, the smaller things which are not there in the script, which are not there. So I think just to have an eye for all those things, uh, I think is something which you can then communicate it to the director that I know this actor is great, but just look at this one particular thing this actor has done, which has kind of blown my mind away. So just noticing all those things in particular, having an open mind, having good background on literature and all those things, because the text, understanding the text, is a big part of whatever you do as an artist, to have that correct understanding of text and just interpret it in a way, because I think that's where your imagination comes. That's why you kind of think out of the box. And as a casting director, I really find myself happier when I push myself. Otherwise, what you do is that you get a brief of, suppose this guy is just a romantic hero, heroine's husband, 35 age group. So there are certain names that pop up. Just to go beyond that and try to experiment a little, just to push yourself out of the boundary of people who are generally fit into that character, and just find something new and exciting. I think something that people might not have, that happened I think on Shakuntala Devi also, when we were casting for the husband's part. I've been a very good big fan of Jishuda's work, Jishu Sen Gupta's. And since he works a lot in the regional language also in Bengal, he's a big star over there. But in Hindi, at that point of time, he was still doing good work, but not that big a star, which but when it came to experimenting a little, when the director was also open and they pushed it, I think that happened, and you see the chemistry, and there's something new and fresh. So I think just to add freshness as a casting director, because the random casting anybody can do. I think just to think a little out of the box, have conviction in what you think, and then convince the other people also. Because a lot of a big part of the job that we do is also to convince, like a director or an actor. A lot of times, the actors, they read the script and they say, "Nahi yaar, maza nahi aaya, ye nahi ho." Yeah, I'm not saying just to bluff them or whatever, but a lot of times I know that this part is great and great for the actor, although it might be a smaller part. To have that convincing thing, that just to convince them to do a role, also requires a lot of things, as a casting director, because when it's right and wrong. So and a lot of times actors, they read it from just their character perspective, that this is what my character is and whatever. A lot of time it also just happens that you're part of a great film that adds a lot to your filmography. Just because we've read, as a casting director, I have read the entire film, I know that way the film is going. So just to have that convincing power and all those things, and have good knowledge about cinema. That's why I restrict myself a lot to Hindi cinema, because that's where I find good actors and characters. Even if somebody has done a small part in a film, but I've noticed that performance, I always go and find out who the actor is, where he's from. Because a lot of times the films are made in regional languages or whatever that thing is. I'll watch a lot of Malayalam films. Even when I'm watching a Malayalam film with this performance that is really good, I kind of zero down on the actor and know them, get the numbers, just message them, let them know they've performed really well, and then try to figure out if I can cast them in something that I'm doing. So I think just to have an open mind, just to have a open vision, I think really helps to become a good casting director.
Sir, thank you so much, sir, for joining. Such a pleasure, sir. You
Yes, likewise, brother. Same. Thank you so much for having this chat. Felt
thank you.
really good.
My pleasure, sir. Thank you so much.